Hello folks, my name is Valentina V and welcome to S501 Create TikToks That Will Get Seen. For the next 30 minutes, I will be telling you pretty much everything I know about how to create effective TikToks. I've been on TikTok since the beginning of last year, and over the course of 2-3 months, I grew to 300,000 followers on TikTok. And number two, I actually just directed TikTok's latest ad campaign. You can find me on social media, Instagram, at Valentina.v, Twitter, Valentina V, TikTok, Valentina_V. If you want to take a photo of you watching this presentation and then tweet it or Instagram it to me, I will retweet it, repost it. I'm all about that. In this presentation, you will learn how to get seen on the For You page. That is TikTok's main feed. How to use trends, sounds, hashtags, effects, how to parlay that into your particular brand and understand your particular brand within TikTok. You'll also learn how to use Premiere Rush to create your video edits. I can't give a full Premiere Rush demonstration, but I will give you the highlights. How to use Premiere Pro to fine-tune your videos, including automatic captioning, and how to use TikTok's native features properly. And yes, I will try to get through this in 30 minutes. That's why I'm going super fast. But first, before you even decide to make a TikTok, let's understand a few things about TikTok. What you should be doing is you should be watching a lot of TikToks. You should be part of the audience that you are trying to attract. I feel like this is the number one thing that people get wrong. They think, oh, a new social network, it must be just like Facebook, it must be just like Instagram. TikTok is not that at all. Identify your niche, right? Find your people, find the people who do the same thing as you and see how you are similar to them, how you are different from them, how you can improve upon what they're doing or do something different from what they're doing. And it's important to identify trends. This all kind of goes back to watching a lot of TikTok. Trends on TikTok go so quickly. There's a new trend, not every single week. There's a new trend every single day, sometimes every single hour. And what's good with trends is they make your videos feel familiar to new people who are coming into it. What happens when you post a TikTok? And here I have a little bit of my TikTok page. Well, first of all, only 10% of your followers will be shown the video, which is actually can be good or bad, right? If you don't have a lot of followers, that's a great thing because who cares about followers seeing my video? I just want new people to see my video all the time. If you have a lot of followers, it can be a negative thing because your followers just aren't going to see it. This means that if enough people interact with your video, it will be shown to more of your followers and more non-followers. Every single TikTok that is uploaded to TikTok does land on someone's For You page. It's definitely going to land on someone's For You page. It's all about what is that grab? What is that first second of the TikTok that is going to entice someone to watch it more? For me particularly, it is my production value. I usually do TikToks in this type of setting with this type of camera. People aren't used to it. So that is kind of the first grab because people are used to seeing things on phones. And when they see my production value, that's why they stick around. Most people are going to be watching their For You page, not their following feed. So it really is a good thing for new creators or new brands or new businesses because that means that every single video you make has a chance of going viral, has a chance of being seen by a lot of people. But of course, it also means that most of your followers won't see your uploads. So you kind of have to work a little bit more because your video has to be good enough for your own followers to see it, if that makes sense. Virality is really easy, but it's not guaranteed. I've had videos do really well, millions of views that I thought would never get viewed. And then I've had videos that were requested that I spent a long time on that barely got any views, at least for me. This is the importance of TikTok, right? Every video has to hit. And sometimes it doesn't hit right away and it hits later. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a case study. I uploaded a TikTok to my account. It didn't get seen by anyone. It got maybe 100 views at the beginning. Then I started a series of photo shoots with my roommate, and that series started catching fire. People started going to my page, seeing what other videos were there. They only saw this one other video there, and they started watching it. And then that initial video kind of hit, right? So I'm going to talk about my second viral TikTok, even though technically it was the first one that I uploaded. It was this one. It was very simple. It was actually, I took a video that I had made already and I made it vertical and I posted it on TikTok. So it took almost no time because I was just reformatting it. This is my internal camera, internal mic, and natural light coming from my window. This is my internal camera, internal mic, and one light aimed directly at my face. This is my internal camera, USB mic, and one light aimed directly at my face. This is my built-in camera, USB mic, and one light bounced against a white wall. This is my pro camera, USB mic, and one light bounced against a white wall. This is my pro camera, USB mic, and 3-light setup. This is my pro camera, pro mic, and 3-light setup. This is my pro camera, pro mic, and all of my lights on. I'm still not done improving my live streaming setup, but just for fun, let's see how it all started. This is my internal camera, internal mic, and natural light coming. So I just restarted it because I wanted to show you that it's a perfect loop, essentially, and I planned it to be a perfect loop on purpose. So here's some of the comments that I got on it, right? I watched this twice because I didn't realize that it looped. That loop was slick. The voice sounded real crisp. This was amazing. This helped me so much understand the difference between cameras and mics. So my analysis of this, my first TikTok, but my second viral TikTok, was that this was the rare case of a video going viral after it had been already sitting on TikTok for quite a while. If I had analytics at that point, my analytics would have shown that most of my views came from my profile. And that's kind of rare. But what makes this TikTok successful? Number one, I had relevant information. I had information that people wanted to know, that people wanted to share with other people because it was useful for them. I wrote out exactly what equipment I was using, and people wanted to see what equipment a professional uses. It just went really quickly at a very quick pace. And that was also really helpful because it didn't dawdle, it didn't stall. It was a very short video. It was a great conversation starter because there were multiple things that people could comment on. People could comment on how good the mic sounded. People could comment on the loop aspect of it. It wasn't just here's something for you. It was more like, here, now interact with me, right? And it was looping. Looping is very important on TikTok. A lot of people use this to great effect because it encourages people to watch it more than once. It just feels like the video goes on and on and on forever. So when I was talking about analytics and sources, here's kind of what I'm talking about, right? You have the For You page, which if a video gets on the For You page, it goes viral, right? Your personal profile, your following, and additional sources, like if people click the sound and find your video through that, if they click the search bar and type something in, or if they click a hashtag. And so the For You page is definitely like new people who aren't following you, who this just came up on their For You page. The personal profile is people who went to your profile first and then clicked on your video. This is where most of the views on the video I just showed you came from. And then following, it's your followers who saw the video. This is most likely if they're on the following feed instead of the For You feed. Now, there's a couple of different types of accounts that I've seen succeed on TikTok, and I'll break them down for you because they might seem similar, but they are a little bit different. And start thinking about which of these accounts you can also be, right? So first of all is an expert. So this is someone who is highly skilled in a particular field of knowledge, especially if it is an uncommon field. Think like deep sea ocean diver explaining how they do their thing, or someone who's really into medieval arts history, somebody who has studied something and can like share the information with the world through talking about it. Number two is a mentor. So this is like a teacher, someone who can be looked up to and emulated. And this doesn't have to be an entrepreneur or investor. It could be somebody who is body positive and who speaks on body positivity, and they could be a mentor for other people who are struggling with their bodies. There's a lot of ways to be a mentor. And you can also be a mentor and an expert at the same time. Then you have the triers. These are people who are unafraid to experiment, who will like dump things on their heads, who will walk up mountains made out of milk crates, who will take suggestions from their audience to do the next thing. Another super popular category on TikTok. Then you have masters, which are a little bit different than experts or mentors. These are people who are highly skilled at one craft, and it's satisfying to watch them be skilled at it. So just think of a video of like a gymnast doing a really hard skill in slow motion, or someone doing pottery, or someone making a beautiful painting. It's just fun to watch. You don't necessarily learn anything. It's kind of just, a beautiful thing to look at. Speaking of beautiful people and beautiful things, attractive people do get a lot of views. And I think that's self-explanatory. But what I will say is that different people are attracted to different things. So it doesn't have to be one standard of beauty. TikTok is very diverse. And of course, hijinks. And this is usually people who don't have a lot of longevity. They're just people who, maybe one crazy thing happened to them one time. So think like America's Funniest Home Videos. Now, if you remember my first video that I showed you where I was explaining my camera setup, I realized that, hey, I am an expert. Let me try actually scripting something and making it a little bit more interesting. So I expanded on the idea. And here's what I came up with.
I've been waiting for this one. Turn it up!
Is a cinematograph the same as a GIF? Kind of, but not really. We all know GIFs. Any video can be turned into a GIF. That's just a video clip that repeats over and over and over again, but it's also a file type. Now, there's photo file types like JPEG and PNG, and there's video file types like QuickTime and MP4. These are small file types, small containers, so you can put a photo of a tree or a photo of Chrissy Teigen. These are larger containers for video files like the TikTok that you're currently watching, or an entire movie, or a cinematograph. A cinematograph is basically a video file where most of it is a photo and only one thing moves. That thing can be repeatable, or it could be something like this where just my mouth moves. A cinematograph can be any of these video files, including GIF. If you don't believe me, go download the GIF off of my page and see for yourself. Any questions?
So a lot of the comments on this video were about how good my editing is. And editing is my strong suit. It's what I do for a living. So it makes sense that people were shocked to see this kind of editing on TikTok. I planned a lot so that people would have things to comment on. So decided to try my hand at being an expert. I wrote a script and I knew what the final edit would look like. So when I was holding things up, I knew what would be in my hands when I was holding them. People were already familiar with the setting, which was my room. So I knew that people who had seen my previous video would kind of be clued in and be like, okay, this is the same person as before. And I had some clever Easter eggs planned. Like, for example, there's a big war on how to pronounce GIF. Is it GIF? Is it GIF? I just chose one and stuck with it. And a lot of the comments were debating about it. And comments equals engagement equals the algorithm favoring you. I also included stuff like Stan J-Hope .mp4, which was a tiny little Easter egg for K-pop fans. Because I know K-pop fans, I am one, are crazy. And they will like and comment on anything K-pop related. So it's the same exact things, right? I offered relevant information. So something that people didn't know. I was an expert. It went really quick. It went at a very fast pace. It was a conversation starter. So about the quality of the editing, about the quality of the camera work, the quality of the scripting. People commented all about that. And it was a loop, just like before. So let's talk a little bit about analytics. They can help you determine who your audience is, where your videos are coming from, how well your video's doing, how you're growing, where your followers are located, and what time of day your followers are active. Here's a video that I did about doing a Christmas card. And I thought that this would do really well. But as you can see, it only got 21.7 thousand views, which for me is very low. And you can see why, because they mostly came from the following feed. Only 18% came from For You, which means it was shown on the For You page. Not a lot of people watched it. So it was left to the people who were following me to watch it. This is a very similar number. And again, you can see that it's in the high 60s for the following and not so much on the For You page. Then a part 2 to a video caught fire and it got 4.4 million views. As you can see, most of the views came from For You. So I want you to take a look at the 2 on the left and the 1 on the right. Take that giant slice of pie, the 60-something% following in the first 2, right? And now shrink it down to that 1% following in the third one. Do you understand? Like all of those people, most of the people who watched the first 2 videos, they belong in that 1% in the viral video. That means that by far the biggest indicator of how well a video is going to do is that it lands on more For You pages. So if you want something to be viral, it has to land on For You pages, which means it has to resonate with people who aren't already following you. That's why if you have something that introduces who you are at the beginning or something that grabs their attention at the beginning, then that means that new people will always be able to understand and see what you're doing. This is a part 2, and then this is the part 3 to that video. So the part 3, it got a decent amount of views. It got 400,000 views, so definitely not the 17,000 of before. But why? Didn't get on as many For You pages, but it was on my profile. When people saw part 2, they immediately went to part 3 to watch it. So most of the views on this video came from my personal profile instead of my followers. So this is also helpful. Back before TikTok had 3-minute videos, I would do part 1, part 2, part 3 videos, and I'd make sure that they're not too far apart, because if any of those parts pop off and go viral, people are definitely going to go and want to see the part 2 and part 3 or the next part. And if it's not there, they'll just leave. Let's talk about A/B testing, which is something I did a lot when I started out. I wanted to know what's most effective. What's the most effective song that I could use? What's the most effective thumbnail that I could use? What's the most effective first 3 seconds that I can use? So I A/B tested, which literally means I uploaded the same video many times just to see how it would play out. If you look at successful TikTok pages, they don't often currently do what they started out doing. You don't just like go viral with your first ever thing. You kind of ideate. So give yourself the ability to do that. Give yourself the ability to really play with ideas. So here's some tips I have for making a TikTok. When you're in doubt, just shoot it, right? It's not going to hurt if you just shoot it and then decide whether or not to make it into a TikTok later. Just have fun with the TikTok app, and you really don't have too much to lose. Even if you're a professional, nobody cares about that on TikTok. I mean, I'm a professional and I do stupid things on TikTok all the time. Production quality, for me, it's important because this is my niche, but for the most part, people see production quality as being an ad. So you may just want to use your phone to film something. Give them something to comment on. So don't just make a video, give them a question at the end. Give them something to write in the comments. Make something controversial, because the algorithm's going to be more interested in a video that has a lot of comments. And upload frequently. I'm very bad at this, but back when I was uploading frequently, every single video was popping off. Every minute I would have over 100 notifications of new people who were following me or liking or commenting, because, you know, TikTok likes it when you are on a roll. And remember that even a failed project can be a successful TikTok. So if you are doing pottery, for example, and you do something and it turns out horrible, make a TikTok on how bad it turned out. And you'll probably find a community of people that are like, oh my God, my pottery's that bad too. So tips for shooting TikToks: be aware of the safe zone, right? So there are going to be text and graphics on top of your video, which isn't the case on things like YouTube and Instagram. So you have a video like this, which I just realized I'm wearing the same shirt. I don't have a lot of clothes. And as you can see, there's a lot of dead areas, these red areas. These are areas where I'm not going to be putting any relevant information. So you can see the subtitles that I put on are just below that line. Be sure to be aware of your safe zones because people can't see stuff if you put it there. Make your TikTok as short as possible. Just because TikToks can be 3 minutes now doesn't mean that that's a good thing. You just try to cut it down. 15 seconds is ideal. 30 seconds is fine. Anything beyond 30 seconds is asking too much, in my opinion. So think about what you're shooting before you shoot it. And then just from experience and from working with TikTok, I'll tell you some absolute no's. Definitely won't get your video promoted on the For You page if you have any nudity, profanity, controversial language, even in your captions, or beds in your frame. All right, so I'm going to do a little demo of editing a TikTok, and I'm going to do it on my phone on Adobe Rush. So let's switch over. The first advantage of using an outside editor is that you don't actually have to record using the TikTok app or edit using the TikTok app. You can do it on your phone regardless. So here I'm going to add new clips. Just go to plus, add media. I'm going to go to albums, then find the album that I'm looking for. Then I'm going to put the clips in the order that I want them in here. So I'm going to start with the glasses and then slowly build that in. You can click sync with CC at the bottom, which means it's going to sync to your Creative Cloud library and you can open it on Rush or on Premiere on your computer. First, I'll show you how I do my loops. So here at the beginning, I have the beginning and the end of the video all in one clip. This is how it looks like in the end, but remember, this is how it started with story time. So that's what I want to do. I want to cut it off at the word story time. So I'm just going to drag this over here. And then I want to start it with, this is how it looks like in the end, but remember, after but remember. So I'm going to cut it there, delete that. So the only word I want at the beginning of this video is the word story time. I want the rest of it at the end of the video. So I'm going to place a cut right before story time. This is how it started with. So I'm going to take that first clip and then just drag it to the very end. Then the shot where I'm all made up right here has to match with the beginning of the clip that I just put in here at the end. So I'm going to make it shorter. Looks like in the end, but remember, here's where I started. This is how it started. So I'm going to place a cut right after, but remember. But remember, my hands are up. I'm going to cut there, delete this. And now my hands are up and they're up again in the next clip. But remember, this is how it started with, and then it goes back to the beginning, story time. So it's a seamless, endless loop. Now let's say that I have everything here cut up that I want to cut up, but my video is actually 7 minutes long, which is quite longer than 3 minutes. So I want to make some of these larger sections sped up. It's really easy. I just go to the speed controls down here, press that, and then go to range speed and speed it up to however fast I want it. Just go to every clip, speed it up. So very quickly, I am taking down that length. You can actually record voiceover straight into this. What you have to do is just go to where you want to start recording voiceover, go to your track editor, and press the recording button, the little microphone icon. It'll wait for 3 seconds and then you can record. I learned how to do makeup like you probably did, from the great Michelle Phan, of course. But this is a picture I took because I'm the one who made many of her videos, specifically these. In 2014, I was unemployed and doing small side jobs as a production assistant when a friend of mine asked me to participate in an editing test for a YouTuber. Turned out Michelle was looking for an editor. You get it. I'm going to record the rest. So there we go. I have the voiceover in there. Now I want to add some B-roll footage on top. So I will go to plus your media. I'll find that footage or those photos that I want to put in, and I'll start clicking to add them. So here it is on track 1. I'll just bump it up to track 2. I can move it over. I can resize it by going to transform, changing the scale. Remember, keeping aware that the bottom of the screen is going to be covered, so I'm not going to move it all the way to the bottom. I'm just going to keep it floating up here. And I'm just going to add the rest of all of the photos and videos that I want on this track too. And now I'm going to not put music on this because I'm going to use TikTok to put TikTok's music on it. But instead, I'm just going to export it for TikTok. So I'll go to ready to export. I'll say, let's do 1080p match frame rate. I'll click export, go to TikTok. It says Premiere Rush wants to open TikTok. Open. Opens up TikTok. There it is. And it's ready. I'm going to say next. Here's where I can add any sort of text that I want. I can actually add the names of the items that I'm showing. I can actually do this a little bit better on Premiere. So let's pop over there and I'll show you. So here's what Premiere Pro looks like when you open it, and you can actually create a new project, but you can also open a Premiere Rush project as long as you clicked Sync with CC in Premiere Rush. So we can go to Open Premiere Rush project. Here it is, Make Up TikTok, click on that, and voila, the project just opens within Premiere Pro. And here under Adobe Stock, I'll type in lower third. This is going to help me find all sorts of lower thirds, which are available, and I'm going to use this lower third as a call out. So I'll find one that I really like. There's hundreds here, so it's not hard. And then I'll just drag it on top of my footage. Now I can edit it however I want. I can change the color, I can change what it says, I can change the location on the screen until it's perfect. And then I can duplicate that a bunch of times and make it the call out for every single one of the times that I show the products. To create subtitles, it's really simple. All you have to do is go to the text window, go to transcribe sequence, and then just make sure that all of the audio that's relevant is selected, and then click transcribe. It takes a few seconds, and you can always fix little things here and there. For example, this one got her name wrong, so I'm going to adjust her name. Once you're ready to make subtitles, you just click create captions, and then they'll all appear on the subtitle track. You can always change anything about the subtitles, like the font, the color, the location. I just like this because it gives you a lot more options than TikTok does natively. TikTok captions are only a certain font. They're only on the bottom or the top of the screen. And they don't really go up high enough for me. So I like to create my own as well. Okay, here are a few tips for posting your TikTok. Whether you've done it on Rush, you've done it on Premiere, you've done it on the TikTok app itself. First of all, you can see here, this is me doing what I'm talking about here live on the right. But basically, have as little text as possible, because you can see the more text you have, the more it actually covers up the screen. So you don't want to get into like 3 lines, 4 lines. Try to have just a very short description. Number 2, hashtags are good, but you don't want to use hashtags that are like super common, like hashtag film or hashtag makeup. You want to make them a little bit more specific. So hashtag art DIY, hashtag makeup guru, hashtag makeup tutorial, so that people can have an easier time finding what they're looking for, finding what they're interested in. Put text in your thumbnail to help people understand what it is. So here you can see me, I'm trying to put the smallest amount of text in my thumbnail so that it still makes sense, especially if this is a part of a series, or this is, you do the certain type of thing over and over and over again. It helps to have text in your thumbnail. Use things like the stitch and the duet and the reply. Any usage of native features is definitely going to help you there. So here I'm uploading the video that we just made in Premiere Rush with the added graphics and captions from Premiere. I'm going to go to next. I'll go over here to add sound, and I'll add a popular sound, which I can't do right now because of copyright, but let's just say that I added it. So I would add the popular sound. Then I would go to next, and I would make sure to select a cover that is fun and interesting. I'm going to type in the story time nobody asked for, because that's humorous and it has the word story time in there. So people who like story times will probably be able to find it. I'm going to hashtag makeup guru instead of makeup tutorial. So people who like makeup gurus will probably find it. And then I'm going to click post. Perfect timing. The baby next door started crying and I'm out of time. So please don't forget to rate my presentation. I'm not going to tell you how many stars to rate it. This is just a suggestion. Thank you so much for coming. Hope to see you around the internet. See you on TikTok. Bye.